Welcome guys to Ember Quartz Part 12. Um, this is the start of episode 4, and well, I'm saying this, and I don't know how long this episode is, but I feel like I'm going to just breeze through this episode and do a one take as I promised in the last part. And I'm very intrigued to see where this goes. So I'm not even going to stall you guys and just let's get straight into it. I was trapped in a pitch black world or pitch dark world. By the way, I am using Llama again for a little while. If you see that the text is going to be a little bit lighter colored, then that will mean that we switched back to Bing. That place was somewhere where only nothingness stretched out, or rather it was more like a blank space. A Taylor Swift song's name. Not an endless expanse of nothingness, but a faint, narrow gap between existence and existence. A black zone that felt like a slight fissure. What happened to me anyway? After hesitating for a moment, I recalled that we had all taken a photo together, and then my consciousness had suddenly cut out. So is this a dream?
夢じゃないよ。
The timing was uncanny, as if someone had seen right through my thoughts, and I heard a voice calling out to me. It was a voice I never heard before, and yet somehow it felt strangely familiar. Koto. It was like trying to recall the title of a story whose plot I knew well, a frustrating sensation that teased me with its elusiveness.
やあ、こんにちは。
A kid, that's Koto. Standing there was a single boy. Or Kyo, not Koto, sorry. He looked like a lively and energetic kid, with an air of cheekiness about him, but despite his youth, there was an unusual calmness to his voice. Wait, could it be... No way, is that... But more than anything, his face was unmistakably familiar. The sense of unease I felt when I heard his voice was explained by the fact that it matched up perfectly with my memories. A 7-year-old photo, and right in the center of it without a doubt was me from back then. Oh yeah, I totally forgot. And the boy standing in front of me now was identical to the one in the photo. No way, it's me, my childhood self?
そうだよ。懐かしいだろ。
The boy, who was a spitting image of my childhood self, said that with a complete nonchalant tone.
驚くことはないよ。ここは俺の。つまり、君の記憶の世界なんだ。
My world of memories?
君は鍵穴を通して人の記憶を見ることができるだろ。それは自分自身だって例外じゃない。
That's crazy. So that's the kind of logic we are dealing with? It seems I still don't fully understand the ability of the keyhole. So that means I can see my own memories here too, right?
もちろん。君が思い出せないでいる7年前の記憶もね。
You know that too?
当たり前だよ。だって俺は君なんだから。
Yeah, but you are me from 7 years ago, so it's kind of confusing how you know the memories that you did not possess back then. I see, so that's how it is. In other words, the boy in front of me is an image from my past memories. The other day I entered the depths of Sarina's keyhole, which was likely her mental world. There, I found Hime, Sarina's appearance from when she was a child, and it seemed to be a part of Sarina's own self. That's why I think the real Sarina might have remembered our conversation from that time too.
まあ、だいたいそんな感じで合ってるよ。そう、 俺は君の過去の記憶の結晶なんだ。木の樹液が固まって琥珀になるように、過去の記憶が結晶化したものがここにいる俺さ。
Which means, you know, don't you? Even the things I've forgotten from 7 years ago?
知ってるよ。この場合は記憶を失ったんじゃなくて、ただ思い出せないだけだからね。
Then show me those memories. What happened 7 years ago?
いいよ。ただし、その記憶は封印された記憶だ。
The boy warned me as if he had absolute authority over me, despite being a part of myself.
封印された記憶には、封印されるだけの理由がある。それを知ると後悔するかもしれない。それでも、君は知りたいのかな。7年前の記憶を。
The boy's question sparked a momentary hesitation within me. But I had made up my mind. I was going to face my past. In order to fight against the mysterious gods alongside my childhood friends, I needed to know the truth about what happened 7 years ago. The starting point of it all. Show me my memories. What really happened 7 years ago.
なら俺の記憶を覗いてみなよ。鍵穴の力を使って。
Keyhole power? You can use it too?
言っただろう。鍵穴の力の対象は自分自身も例外じゃないんだ。そして俺は君の過去の記憶の結晶。特に7年前に関する記憶の化身とも言える。
So that's why you look like me from back then.
そうだよ。その方がわかりやすいだろ。
The boy spoke in a straightforward, unreserved manner. Though, was I really this much of a rebellious kid when I was younger?
悪かったね。車に構えたガキで。
Damn, can you see right through me here or what?
さあ、やるならさっさとしてくれ。こうしている間にも時間は容赦なく流れるんだからね。
Alright, here I go. I steeled myself and placed my hand on the boy's shoulder. As expected, the familiar keyhole appeared and I focused my consciousness on it. To peek into the scene on the other side of the keyhole, a landscape of my own memories. Yeah, this is also like the case. Like when I see the wall text, it's such a cool detail how the VN structure changes. The sunset that day was more deeply crimson than usual, scorching the sky with its intense glow. It might have just been my imagination, but one thing was certain. That day's sunset was special. It's red. I gazed blankly up at the sky. The endlessly high autumn sky with a deeply red sunset that was utterly beautiful. What is that? A plume of smoke rose up into the sunset sky. It was the figure of my sister transformed beyond recognition. I was in a funeral parlor, where my sister's funeral had just ended. All I learned today was the phrase "Nirai ni haita irai," a funeral ritual that I didn't really understand. Nothing more than that. And just like that, without understanding the meaning of the ritual or the meaning of my sister's death. By the way, that translation was really good because, like, neither I understood it. My sister's funeral was over. So this is after Koto's death, or believed death. Is that bullshit? I'm sorry, I thought that this is like a Hungarian boss, Borsod Volat. Oh my god. Finally, the coffin containing my sister was pushed into the white wall. White wall? Do you mean like a marble wall? Disappearing from view. And there, my sister's body would be cremated. Once cremated, a person's body would turn to smoke, leaving only bones behind. Wow, that previous smoke was too high up. Just what did they use to burn her ashes like that? Or turn her into ash like that? My sister died. It was a traffic accident. That day, I had a fight with my sister. She ran to Mom, crying. But Mom had gone out shopping and wasn't home. I don't really get what's her connection to us. Like, is she like blood-related sister, stepsister, or just like a friend who is like kind of we call sister? Because I heard people like that exist. Like, you are like my sister, so I'm going to call you and like, nickname you as such. But Mom had gone out shopping and wasn't home. As for what happened to my sister after that, I don't know the details. Probably no one does. All I know is that a few tens of minutes later, my sister was hit by a car outside. Apparently it happened in a nearby neighborhood, less than 100 meters from our house, where a car had run onto the sidewalk and struck her. But I didn't see it with my own eyes. I only heard about it later from Dad and Mom. The one thing I'm certain of, the one thing I saw with my own eyes, is my sister lying there, her face deathly pale, not breathing. All that was left was the smoke from the crematorium, where my sister's coffin had been burned. As my sister was being cremated, I stood there staring at the sunset the whole time. I just kept gazing at the smoke rising up from there, unable to look away. Me, running out of breath, dashing through the darkness. My arms are wrapped tightly around something incredibly heavy, but I have no idea what it is. All I remember is that I was holding onto it with all my might and running for my life. Please, I'm begging you. Please, don't, I'm begging you. This time, tears streaming down my face. I was desperately praying to something for something. But just like before, I still have no idea what I'm praying to, or what I'm praying for. It's certain that there's something, or I'm certain that there's something I desperately want to wish for, but the details of that wish are completely blank. Please, I'm begging you, give me... As if responding to my wish, the something in my hand began to emit a faint glow. A faint orange-colored light. Yeah, this was the thing I saw in episode 3 with Tenryuji, but I did not know why did they show it back then. Like, they could have just showed it to us now. Huh? Before my eyes, something that could only be described as a gigantic amoeba began to change its shape like clay. That life-size clay figure was somehow familiar to me. I could never forget it because it was my little sister's face. No way. Could it be Kotori? She didn't respond. She just stood there silently, her feet planted firmly on the ground. Before long, she slowly opened her eyes, her appearance now identical to the one etched in my memories. Kotori! When I called out to her, the figure that looked like my sister fell silent and turned its gaze towards me. Kotori! Are you really Kotori? I excitedly called out my sister's name over and over, but her response was lukewarm. Maybe she didn't even know her own name. Maybe she was just reacting to the sound of my voice right in front of her. But the truth is, my sister is already dead. She is supposed to be gone from this world. It can't be Koto. It just can't be. I'm just going to call her Koto because that's her name. But then who are you? Honestly, I have no idea what's going on. Wait, how did I even end up in a place like this? My memories of how I got here are really hazy for some reason. The next thing I knew, I was running through these woods in the middle of the night. But then, something right in front of me transformed into something that looked just like my sister. What are you? Why do you look just like Koto? But it didn't respond, just like before. It may look identical to my sister, but it's clear that's where the resemblance ends. What am I supposed to do? It's pitch black and I really should get back home. Of course, there's no way I can bring something like this back to my house. This thing that looked just like my sister, but it isn't her. If even I can tell it's not my sister, my mom will probably figure it out right away too. I mean, it's not like my sister, who's supposed to be dead, would actually be here. If anyone finds out about this thing's existence, it will definitely cause a huge commotion. To be honest, I'm not even sure what kind of trouble it would cause. But one thing was certain. This thing was clearly not normal. But I couldn't just leave it like this. Either. As I stood there, racking my brain, I could have sworn it tilted its head slightly. I guess I have no choice. Come on, follow me. I held out my hand, but it ignored it and just kept staring straight at my eyes. Come on, take my hand. I'm telling you to follow me. I forcibly took its hand. Its hand was soft and slightly cold. Aside from the slightly lower body temperature, the feel of it was familiar to me. Did it mimic the dead sister? Way. So that's why she just like barely can talk? And with that I started walking, pulling it along by the hand. As usual, it remained silent, obediently following me without resistance. What am I supposed to do now? She just smiles like a maniac. I trudged along, my sister's doppelganger in tow. As I left the woods behind, I found myself in a familiar plaza. It seemed I was still inside Cosmic Park. And in the distance, beyond the plaza, I could see a large tower under construction. It seems that the tower is scheduled to become the new symbol of this town. When the tower is completed, a special bell will be installed there. Come to think of it, Koto was looking forward to the completion of this tower. I myself wasn't particularly interested in it, but my little sister said she wanted to hear the bell ring in that tower as soon as possible. But that wish did not come true. Hey, do you remember this tower? I tried talking to her as a test, but as usual, her reaction is tepid. Is it that you don't understand the meaning of what I'm saying, or that my words themselves aren't getting through? In any case, I once again realized that this girl is not my little sister. Leaving the space park, I walk along an unfamiliar road. It's because on a familiar road, I thought an acquaintance might see this girl. Well, since it's this late at night, I think it's probably fine though. On the quiet night road, only my footsteps echo. This girl walks very quietly, without even making a sound with her steps. Moreover, she remained expressionless and didn't say anything, just like a doll. However, when I look at her, she stares back at me quietly, and the hand I grabbed softly grips mine in return. So even though I knew she wasn't my little sister, I couldn't leave her alone. After that, this girl and I wandered around aimlessly. And as I kept walking while avoiding people's eyes, I ended up going to places I didn't know more and more. This is it. Before long, we arrived at an abandoned factory, quietly standing on the outskirts of town. If it's here, deep in the deserted grove, no one will notice us. If it's here, no one will find us. Or if she's here, maybe I can hide her here. This thing that looks like my dead little sister, and it's questionable whether it's even human. I took her along, and as if being guided, entered the abandoned factory. The inside was completely dark, and the only thing I could rely on was the moonlight coming through the window. When you strain your eyes in the darkness, the interior gradually begins to faintly emerge. The inside of the abandoned factory was surprisingly spacious, and the impression I got was like a ridiculously large gym storage room. Oh, there's something like a mat. It looks like I can lie down here. We didn't have this factory as a hideout before? What? Wait. Oh my god. Oh my god. So, it's way before. We had a little sister that is not Koto. She died. And this is like an image that is like exactly her from the get-go. Damn. This changes everything, bro. Like she's like a mimic from the get-go, and we did not know them. We did not know the friends here, no? Like Mikone and Kyo. We did not know them here, because this is way before we call this place a shelter. Fucking hell. Okay, let them cook now. Did I say this line, by the way? Whether it's clean or not is questionable, but at the very least it's probably many times better than the ground. Fucking hell. Since I couldn't take her home, I had no choice but to hide her here where no one would see. So eventually she begins to talk, no? Will you stay here quietly tonight? I will come again tomorrow. Even when I tell her that, she still doesn't say a word. Even dogs and cats, I think they would react a little more. Hey, do you understand what I'm saying? The child who doesn't answer back just keeps staring at me. Neither following me closely nor ignoring me. You were just reflecting only me in your eyes. Even though I was tugged at the back of my hair by that kind of attitude, Then, see you again tomorrow. I turned my back on that kid and headed for the entrance of the abandoned factory. I can't particularly feel any movement from the back. I can't hear any voice either. Her presence gradually faded away, blending into the darkness of the abandoned factory. As if no one had been there from the beginning. They are here, of course. Who, they? Or probably her, because... After walking for a while and looking back, that child was staring at me without moving an inch. A gaze that is completely clear and innocent, like a chick waiting for its parent in the nest. It's looking this way. Damn it! Unable to bear that gaze, I hurriedly slipped out of the abandoned factory. When I went outside, a cold night wind blew immediately, and I sneezed. Even a rundown building like this seems to at least protect you from the rain and wind. But the windows are broken. It should be fine here, right? The windows are broken. And she's going to starve to death. I once again take in the exterior of the abandoned factory. Looking at it this way, the building itself is not tall, but the size seems to be quite large. But the windows are broken. However, the inside, as far as I saw earlier, saw empty, and being awkwardly spacious only made it feel even more desolate. Is she going to be all alone all night in such a dark and lonely place in this cold? Not really that much. Isn't that just too cruel? I felt guilty about what I was doing. At the very least, maybe I should stay with her tonight. Ah, jeez, what am I doing? In the end, I immediately turned back into the abandoned factory. I opened the heavy creaking door and entered the abandoned factory once again. When I looked at that child, she was staring at me in exactly the same posture as before. Those eyes were as if they fully believed that I would come back. Have you been waiting for me? When I called out to her, this time she showed just a little bit of a reaction. Ah, jeez, I'm curious about this. I became frustrated and ran over to the child. Well... Eventually, I made it up to the child, but I wasn't sure what to say. And I realized that this girl, who looks exactly like my younger sister, but it's not her, doesn't even have a name to call her by. Kotori, probably, that's not it, right? Well then, Koto. Oh, so it was probably good. So the Kotori, okay. I just did this. But in this case, then delete row. Well then, Koto. Your name is Koto. Bird. No. You know, you remove something and then you add something. I mean, this is kind of fucking shit. You I completely forgot. I mean, full word match because like it's. Yeah, at my Kotos. At my words, that child, Koto, looked up at me with a curious expression. Take one character from Kotori and you get Koto. That's the name of this one, who is like a younger sister, but not really a younger sister. Got it, Koto. From now on, you are Koto.
Koto.
That's right, it's Koto. Hey, you can actually talk properly.
Koto. Koto.
Kotto. Cotton softo. You are the developer of this game. Moving her mouth repeatedly like when a baby speaks their first word. This child is not my younger sister. I understood that well enough, but even so I could no longer think of her as a stranger now. And so, in the end, I decided to spend the night with Koto in the abandoned factory. Lying on the mat together, I think absent-mindedly. I wonder if Mom is worried by now. But since I sneaked out of the house at night, if I return early in the morning, I won't get caught. Huh? She snuck out of the... Huh? You snuck out of the house in the middle of the night? For what on earth? Why did I secretly leave the house in the middle of the night and end up at that place? In the middle of the night, in the woods of the space park, what was I doing there? I don't remember anything about that. No matter how hard I try to remember, I just can't recall. Achoo! And then, once again, a big sneeze. It seems like I can avoid the rain and wind here, but it really does get cold at night. Koto, aren't you cold? I speak to Koto lying on the mat next to me. However, Koto only made a gesture, as if tilting her head slightly, and she did not seem to be shivering from the cold. See, if that's the case, then it's fine. Achoo! Then I sneezed once more and shivered. The current season is autumn. Daytime is fine, but when sleeping at night, it might be tough without a futon. What the heck? Did she just breathe on my neck? Koto suddenly came and stuck right next to me. I was taken aback by the sudden action, but the moment Koto got close, I noticed that I had warmed up slightly. It feels as if... It feels as if warmth is being conveyed from Koto. You are unusually warm. Do you have a fever or something? That's not fever, bro. I tried touching Koto's forehead. However, I don't feel any unusual heat and her complexion doesn't look bad either. She's like an AI I can train from the beginning. She does not know any language besides Koto. It just felt like I was wrapped in warm air all around me. It's kind of warm, and I'm getting sleepy. I felt drowsy from that warmth, and eventually my consciousness slowly drifted away. Did I just do a killer yawn voice? What the hell? A white light pressed against my eyelids, and I naturally woke up. Huh? It's already morning. You can actually sleep pretty well even in a place like this. Whoa, don't just quietly stare at me. Word. Next to me was Koto, who as always was just quietly staring at me. You woke up before me, or have you been awake this whole time in this position? No way. No matter what, there's no way she hasn't slept at all. After all, Koto was making an entirely calm face. Ishins do not have to sleep. Without showing any particular signs of sleepiness, Koto looked exactly the same as last night. Oh no, I have to go for a bit. I don't know because I don't have a watch, but I think it's probably just morning. If I go back home now, I might be able to get away with spending the night outside without anyone finding out. Come back again. Until then, you wait here, alright? I just had like probably the VN is speaking about me or like from me, but like what if this is how like this Koto dies and this is how we separate? We realize that she's another god and we kill her at the end of this episode. And when we kill her, I'm talking about this. I hope YouTube does not like taking this the wrong way. This is like, I'm not planning to kill. This is an alien. This is a man-eating alien. So, what if like at the end, Subaru kills her and I don't know, something happens to make him forget. I don't know about that, but he does not know that he needs to smash this, like the quartz that she becomes. And that quartz eventually just transforms into Nayuta. Because I still believe that this is Nayuta. But I'm not really sure, to be honest, what's the connection or how that connection is. Even after saying that, Koto still didn't say anything. But somehow I feel like the intention is being understood. Feeling a little relieved by how things were, I hurriedly left the abandoned factory. I finally made it back. I kept running from the abandoned factory and finally made it back in front of my house. I didn't pay much attention last night, but the abandoned factory was quite on the outskirts of town, and the distance from there to home was considerable. Well, about that much should be just right for hiding things. Anyway, let's get inside the house, quickly. Where's Koto? If I can get back to my room before Mama wakes up, I can keep everything from last night a secret. Thinking that way, I stepped through the entrance. Where were you?
スバル、あなたどこへ行ってたの？
Mom! However, my thinking was naive. My mom was already awake, and as soon as I came into the house, I was immediately found out.
てっきりまだ寝てるのかと思ったのに、どうして玄関から家に入ってくるの？
That is...
こんな朝早くから外で何をしてたっていうのよ。
Mom was angry to quite an extent, but it seems that she hasn't realized yet that I snuck out in the middle of the night. Then I keep fooling her like this before they notice. I happened to wake up early this morning, so I went for a little morning walk.
朝の散歩？
Yeah, that's right, healthy, right? Mom. Well, I think that's happy tears, no? Mother suddenly started shaking her shoulders and crying. I was half prepared to be scolded, but this was really unexpected and I panicked. Mom, don't cry over something like this.
だってスバルまで急にいなくなったら母さんどうすればいいの？
Mom.
お願いだから勝手にどこかへ行ったりしないで。あの子みたいに。
Like that child did. So she wasn't my sister either. Saying that, my mother broke down in tears. I didn't know what to do in front of her like that. Hug her. It wasn't like this before. Mom was cheerful and lively, and when she got angry, she was scary. when my younger sister was alive. I'm sorry, Mom.
スバル
Damn, the voice acting. When I looked down and apologized, my mother held me tightly to her chest and continued to cry just like that. Since my younger sister died, my mother has been crying almost every day. What is this, though? She hardly ever cried in front of me like she does now, but the days of shutting herself in her room and sobbing had continued for a long time. Dad, why won't you come home at a time like this? Finally, we mentioned the dad. My father has been busy with work and was originally often absent, but since my younger sister died, he hardly comes home at all. What a dickhead. Like, okay, now I get why you are a dickhead, because your father is a dickhead and you got that dickheadness from him. It was as if I were escaping from his house without my younger sister. Yeah, since my little sister died, my house has completely changed. Kotori, you really aren't here, are you? I am once again painfully reminded of the reality of my younger sister's death. But then, what about that child? The girl I spent the entire night with at that abandoned factory last night, that child I named Koto, who exactly is she? As I was held in my mother's chest, who kept crying, I was absent-mindedly thinking about such things. Since that night, I decided to take care of Koto at the abandoned factory. After all, because Koto was like a baby who couldn't do anything on their own, I couldn't just leave them alone. Of course, the biggest reason I can't just leave it alone is that Koto looks exactly like my younger sister Kotori. However, the problem was about Koto's meal. At first I was buying food with my own allowance, but I ran out of money quickly. There is a limit to how much food I can take from home, and besides Koto eats a lot more than she looks, so the amount is far from enough. At this rate, Koto would go hungry. I needed to come up with a countermeasure quickly, making her eat people. I just imagined this like... I just imagined... Come. Human meat, come. It's good for you. Come, little alien. Rumble. Am I starving? You sure. There we go. Lunchtime. I was pushing the school lunch wagon by myself. Is it me or the school looks different too? To be honest, last time I saw this CG was like sunset. This is of course not bullying or anything, I was the one who offered to do it by myself. This week is the long-awaited school lunch duty week. Yes, my target was the leftover bread and milk from the school lunch. I obviously can't take any leftovers from the side dishes, but I can manage if it's bread or milk. Wait for me, Koto. However, I couldn't talk to the other lunch duty members about the situation. I had kept Koto's existence a secret from everyone. On the way back to the cafeteria with the lunch cart, a secret plan to divert the leftover bread and milk. Tomo? For that it was necessary to do it all alone. But geez, carrying a wagon by myself is tough. Or Kyo. The school lunch cart is just huge. Normally it takes at least 2 people to move it. It probably varies by school, but at our school they used a type of wagon that could carry 2 classes at once, and its size was heavyweight. Well, that means we also get the leftovers from the school lunches of 2 classes. Huh? I hear a voice calling my name and I reflexively turn to look that way. I called Kamiya? Yeah, I know. You're Minakura, aren't you? The one who was there was Minakura from the same class. By the way, we were also in the same group for lunch duty.
神谷くん、大変そうだね。
Oh, because I'm Sumaru Kabiya, or what? Huh? Well...
どうして一人で後片付けするなんて言い出したの？
You're hitting me where it hurts. The other lunch duty members didn't investigate so deeply. But I never thought that this girl would get suspicious of me. Minakura. She's a girl in the same class as me, but she's shy and quiet. Not the type to stand out much. To put it more precisely, it seemed like she had hardly any friends, and she was always alone, looking lonely and isolated.
ねえ、どうして？罰ゲームか何かなの？
No, that's not really it. I mean, it's kind of like a little volunteer work.
ボランティア。
Even I knew it was a lame excuse. What kind of person volunteers to clean up after school lunch?
それじゃあ、私も手伝おうか。
What happened to your hairpin, by the way? Because I don't think she has that in her adult life. Why are you here?
だって神谷くん一人じゃ大変そうだし。
It's okay. Something like this is no big deal.
でも
Usually quiet Minakura is unusually persistent. Why is it that she's only kind at me time like this? It's fine, don't worry about it. More importantly, it's lunchtime, so go play outside.
遊べない。
Huh.
私友達いないから誰も遊んでくれないの。
Minakura muttered that while looking down and feeling dejected. Damn, I stepped on a landmine. But with those words I somehow ended up understanding this girl. In other words, this girl was bored during her lonely lunch break, and that's why she became interested in me when I started behaving strangely. What should I do? I could probably forcefully get away with it like this. As Minakura said, honestly, it's also true that it's tough to handle various things alone. It's fine to sneak some of the leftover school lunch on the way back with the wagon, but after that you have to carry it from here to the abandoned factory. Can I really carry it all by myself? If I have to make 2 trips, lunch breaks will be over. Minakura, huh? I wonder if it's okay to tell this one about it. Let me drink! I don't want the people around me to know that I look exactly like my... I don't want the people around me to know that she looks exactly like my dead younger sister. But Minakura probably doesn't know about my sister, and more than anything, it seems this girl doesn't have any other friends. In other words, even if I were to tell him about Goto's existence, it was hard to imagine her talking about it to anyone. Alright, then sorry, but could you help me?
私手伝う。
However, what I'm about to tell you must be a secret from everyone.
どういうこと？
You see, lend me your ear for a moment.
わかった。
Why are you blushing? It's nothing like that. Then I secretly whispered to Minakura. There's an alien god in the basement. Phew, we finally made it.
捕
Was that the flashback to get to the secret base? You're so lazy, Minakura. You said you help on your own.
まさかこんなところまで来るなんて思わなかったもん。
What an asshole. Saying that, Minakura put down the garbage bag she had been carrying. However, of course, the contents were not trash, but school lunch bread. After that, with the cooperation of Minakura, I secured the leftovers from the school lunch before returning the wagon. After that, the two of us secretly snuck out of school and ended up coming to this abandoned factory.
でも本当にこんなところに人がいるの？
Well, you will understand once you go inside. To be honest, I'm not really sure if that kid is truly a person. I shouldered the garbage bag filled with packs of milk and headed into the abandoned factory with Minakura. Koto, you here? I brought food.
スバル。
There, you waited properly. Good child, good alien god.
うん。
When I praise her, she slightly relaxes the corners of her mouth, faintly looking happy. It's been about half a month since I met Koto. In that time, Koto had become able to speak a little. She learns. It has started to show something like emotions again, and I think it has become considerably more human-like. Even so, she was far from looking her age and was still not much different from a baby.
神谷くん、この子がことちゃん？
That's right. Koto, this girl is Minakura from the same class.
こんにちは。みなくらともです。みなくらとも？
Minakura friends.
そう。よかったらともって呼んでくれると。とも、私こと。神谷くんから聞いてるよ。よろしく、ことちゃん。
Minakura, stumbling over their words, was doing their best to introduce themselves to Koto. Koto remained completely calm in the face of such Minakura. She didn't show any signs of being shy around strangers. At this rate, I can't tell which one is older. Well, I don't actually know Koto's real age though. 1 month old. Oh well, in any case, I have to fulfill the purpose of coming here. Hey Koto, I brought some food. You must be hungry, right?
うん。お腹ペコペコ。じゃあ食べて。パンと牛乳しかないけど、たくさんあるから。
Minakura held out a bag filled with bread in front of Koto. Then Koto immediately began biting into the contents. Look, there's milk too. You can drink it all.
すごい食欲だね。
Yeah, thanks to that, preparing meals has become really tough.
そっか、それで給食の残りを。
Minakura, widening their eyes at Koto's eating, nodded as if in understanding.
でも本当に神谷くんがこの子のお世話してるの？この子の家は？お父さんとお母さんはどうしたの？
That... honestly, I don't know. Let alone a house, I don't even know if she has parents at all.
よくわからないけど、こういうのって警察とかに行った方がいいんじゃ。
Well, that's true, but I saw it with my own eyes. Before Koto took its current form, it had the shape of a large amoeba. In other words, Koto isn't an ordinary human. If the adults find out about that, what on earth will happen? Also, if Dad or Mom were to see Koto, if they saw someone who looks exactly like my deceased younger sister Kotori, honestly, I have no idea what will happen. But it won't be good. That was what scared me the most. Minakura, please, I don't want anyone to know about this.
でも
There are various reasons behind it. I can't go into details, just help me without asking anything.
それって私と神谷くんの秘密ってこと？
Yeah. That's right, a secret just between you and me.
二人だけの秘密。
Minakura pondered fucking hell. Minakura pondered my words for a moment. As I waited for a reply with my heart pounding, Minakura eventually lifted their face and looked over at me.
わかった。私、秘密は守るから。
Really? It's definitely a promise.
約束する。
When I emphasized something for some reason, Minakura nodded, looking really happy. I don't know much about Minakura, so I'm a little unsure about how much I can trust her. But it was reassuring to have more companions to share secrets with. Even so, you really eat a lot?
本当だね。こんな小さい体のどこに入るんだろう。
Now the problem is how we are going to handle food. Since I'm on lunch duty for the rest of this week, I should be able to bring the leftover school lunch like this. However, when I wasn't on lunch duty, it was difficult to secure leftovers, and sooner or later someone might notice. Hey, Minakura, do you have any good ideas for getting Koto's meal?
私
But if Koto is Nayuta, then why would Nayuta eat this? Why isn't she eating this much? I mean, the bento box is the only way I could describe it, but that surely isn't enough. For now, if you try to bring up the topic, Minakura will start to think seriously. But to be honest, I wasn't really relying on it. In this case, kids like us just can't do anything.
そうだ。こういうのはどうかな。
Huh? Is there some good way to do it?
隣のクラスに家がお弁当屋さんをやってる子がいるんだけど。
Oh, is that so? I have a few friends in the class next door, but none of them have families who run a bento shop. So that means you are not an acquaintance of mine.
食べ物のことならその子に相談してみたらどうかな。もしかしたら余ったおかずとか分けてもらえるかも。
I see, that's another way to do it. Well then, I guess I try asking. I decided to give Minakura's proposal a try, just to see how it goes. And then, after school that day... Hey, are you Suga?
あ？なんだおめえは。
When I spoke to him, he turned over me with an overly suspicious look on his face. This is the classroom of the next door class, and right in front of me is a boy who looks really cheeky. Kyohei Suga. That was the name of the bento shop owner's son, according to Minakura. Minakura, is it really this guy?
多分そうだと思う。
Why? Probably. Isn't this someone you know?
知り合いってわけじゃなくて、お弁当屋さんの方にはよく行くんだけど。
Minakura, who has been hiding behind my back since a while ago, answers hesitantly. It seems that she has no personal acquaintance with the person. At this rate, she doesn't really seem like to be of any help in the negotiations.
おい、さっきから何こそこそ喋ってんだ。感じ悪いな。
No, my bad. So, Suga, is this you? Or is that you?
まあそうだけど。つうかお前こそ誰だよ。
The bento shop owner's son, despite being short, was an unusually arrogant kid. However, for Goto's sake, it is necessary to obtain this guy's cooperation. Here I must endure quietly and not act arrogantly. I'm Kamiya from the class next door, Kamiya Subaru. And the one hiding behind my back is Minakura.
で、隣のクラスの連中が何の用だよ。
Hey, your parents run a bento shop, right?
だからどうした？それがお前に関係あるのか？
Well, if it's a bento shop, there would be probably leftover side dishes, right?
それが何か？もったいないからよこせとか言うんじゃねえだろうな。
I mean, no. Sharp. Actually, that might be exactly right.
は？マジで言ってんのお前。
I'm serious, totally serious. I wonder if you could share the leftovers from that lunchbox with us. When I pleaded, doing my best to appear humble, Suga looked at me with a suspicious gaze. Just tell him it's for a homeless girl.
なんでそんなもんがいるんだよ。
Huh? No, that's...
見たところ、飯が食えないほど貧乏ってわけでもなさそうだけど。
No, it's not that. It just... Of course, I can't tell this guy about Koto's existence. While keeping the matter, it's complicated, a secret, how I can satisfy this guy and get the leftovers from the bento. It's for charity. Or homeless. Actually, I've been keeping a dog behind my parents' back and I need food for it.
犬の餌？
That guy eats a lot, so we need a lot of food.
なるほどね。
Do you understand the situation now?
まあな。でも、そんなの俺の知ったこっちゃないね。
What?
野良犬の世話なんかで何必死になってんだ？そういうのうざいんだよ。
What the hell, you bastard? Acting all high and mighty just because I'm being polite?
やるかこいつ！なめてんじゃねえぞ！
神谷くん、喧嘩しちゃダメだよ。
In the end, instead of gaining Suga's cooperation, we ended up in a fight and the negotiation broke down. I messed up.
神谷くん、元気出して。
Oh, sorry. I did not want to skip the line. Minakura has been trying to comfort me, who has been feeling down non-stop, while looking flustered. After engaging in a futile battle with Suga, Minakura and I came back to the abandoned factory. However, since they were unable to obtain any food, of course they were empty-handed. My bad, Minakura. Even though you went out of your way to make a suggestion, I ended up ruining it.
神谷くんのせいじゃない。
No, if I had handled it a little better.
しょうがないよ。ことちゃんの食べ物のことはまた考えよう。
Yeah, I can also get the leftovers from the school lunch this week. While talking about things like that, we went into the abandoned factory.
あいつら、 こんなところで何やってんだ？まさか本当に犬でも飼ってんのかな。ここまで来たんだし、ちょっと中も覗いてみるか。
So I couldn't bring any food. Sorry, Koto. For the time being, I tried apologizing to Koto, but naturally Koto had no idea what I was talking about and looked puzzled. The bread and milk from the school lunch brought at noon were already inside Koto's stomach. At this rate, I really can't help but worry about what's ahead.
神谷くん、元気出して。明日も給食のパンとか持ってくるの手伝うから。
Thanks, Mirakura. Ha!
どうしたの神谷くん。
Tomorrow's meal isn't bread. It's rice.
ご飯はここまで持ってくるの難しいかも。
Word. Exactly. I let out yet another grand sigh, and Koto, who saw it, tilted her head again. Is this why we came together as friends? To bring food and... Oh! Who is it? At that moment, a noise came from the entrance of the abandoned factory. Since it is quiet here, such noises echo clearly. When I turned around in surprise, there was... You... Suga! What are you doing in a place like this?
菅くん。
Suga ignored our calls and just silently stared at us. No, it's not so much that I'm watching, but rather...
その子は？
Huh?
その子誰なんだよ。
You suddenly appeared and what are you doing on your own?
コト。
Yeah. The
コ
only...
ト、それがお前の名前か。
うん。私、コト。
そっか。俺は菅恭平って言うんだ。
菅恭平。
This... What's going on?
そう。
I think he has a crush. That's kind of going to be a very bad thing to explain once this episode over. I feel like this eventually leading up to me explaining who's Koto's real existence is. Minakura and I were taken aback by Suga's unexpected attitude towards the matter. I mean, it's totally different from my time.
おいお前ら、こんなところでその子と何やってんだよ。野良犬の世話をしてるんじゃなかったのか？
That is...
さっき俺に食い物よこせって言ってきたのも、そこにいるコトと何か関係があるのか？
If you can already guess that much, poor excuses probably won't... If you can already guess that much, poor excuses probably won't work anymore. Moreover, now that the existence of this place and this matter is known, I guess I have no choice but to speak somewhat honestly. Alright, I talk, but in return what I'm about to say is a secret, okay?
噂を垂れ流す趣味はないから、安心しろ。
He still spoke in a pretentious manner as usual, but for now I decided to believe him. And I also tell Suga what I talked about with Minakura at lunch. However, I naturally kept hidden the fact that Koto looks exactly like my deceased younger sister and might not even be human. Yeah, that's kind of a important detail to left out, but this much I still can't tell even Minakura or Suga.
じゃあお前はここでその子の世話をしてて、そのために食い物が必要だってんだな。
That's right, Koto eats really much, so she needs more food than an average child.
それでさっき菅くんのところに相談に行ったの。
だったら最初からそういやいいのによ。
There's no way I could say that. That's one thing if it were a dog or a cat, but secretly taking care of a girl?
まあ、そりゃそうか。
Suga said that and shrugged his shoulders, then looked at Koto once again.
よし、わかった。うちの弁当の残り物の件、俺が何とかしてやる。
Really? I don't know what kind of change in mindset it was, but that offer was exactly what I had been hoping for.
ただし、俺もお前らの仲間に入れろ。
Okay. Acquaintances. For a moment I didn't understand what that meant. Then once again I look around at the members who are here. We need 2 more. Until yesterday it was just me and Koto, the scene of the abandoned factory. But now Minakura and Suga have joined the 2 there. It didn't feel like we were companions, just the 2 of us, Koto and me. But if it's the 4 of us here, maybe we could call each other companions. Things I can't do alone. If Minakura and Suga help me, I can protect Koto. Alright, from today we are comrades.
私も仲間でいいの？
Of course, let's become a team. Just the 4 of us. Me, Minakura, Suga, and Koto.
仲間。
That's right, Koto. Everyone here is a friend.
仲間か。私がみんなの仲間。
しょうがねえから仲間になってやるよ。
And so on that day, the 4 of us became comrades. Or friends, I don't know. The comrades who shared the secret of Koto. That was also the beginning of our group. At first, we will deal with Koto's food problem. For the time being, Suga agreed to bring out leftover side dishes and prepared food from his family's bento shop. It seems that Suga's family's bento shop prides itself on freshly made bento. So once lunchtime has passed, the leftover side dishes and prepared foods would sometimes become meals for the part-time ladies, and if there were still leftovers, even though they were still edible, they would be thrown away. This is a long sentence. In other words, it seems quite possible to bring such leftovers. Moreover, by the time school was over, it was said that one could just manage to get the leftover lunch. That guy Suga is late, and this is how I ran into him.
神谷くん、まだそんなに時間経ってないから。
So the next day after school, Minakura and I were waiting for Suga in the back alley of the shopping street. Shuttle, shopping street. I miss this. Suga's family bento shop is on the main street of Shuttle, and they said they would come out the back door of the shop to bring the side dishes, but...
須賀くん、うまくやってくれるといいね。
Yeah, I'm counting on you, really. We waited for Suga to come in the mood, as if we were praying. By the way, according to Suga, rice dishes rarely go uneaten, so it is difficult to bring them along. So for the meal, Minakura and I had made rice balls at home and brought them along. If I say something like I get hungry while playing with my friends, I can probably fool my parents too. Oh, you finally came. After a while, Suga appeared from the corner of the back alley. He was carrying large plastic bags in both hands. They were bags with the logo of a bento shop that I also knew. When Suga came up to us, he dropped the bags he was carrying heavily onto the ground.
重てえな、もう。
Suga, could it be that this bag...
もちろん、ちゃんと持ってきたさ。俺は約束は守るぞ。
Good job. Suga gave a smug grin. And from the plastic bag placed on the ground, there was the fragrant smell of fried chicken. That's almost like as human meat. Nice one, Suga. I got a new respect for you.
ありがとう、菅君。
別にお前らのためじゃねえや。コトが腹を空かせたらかわいそうだからな。
Suga, while crumbling in resentment at the praise for me and Minakura, didn't seem entirely displeased. Alright, then let's hurry to the abandoned factory. Koto is waiting.
お前らも食い物運ぶの手伝えよ。これ結構重いんだからな。
I understand. わかったよ。Even without being told, I was planning to do at least that willingly. Yeah.
へえ、本当によく食うんだなこいつ。
Right? Thanks to that, this month's alliance was eaten up in an instant.
そうなんだ。昨日まで一人でことちゃんのお世話して大変だったんだね。
Yeah, that's why it was a relief that Minakura and Suga joined us. While talking about such things, I watched Koto display her vigorous appetite. We who carried the side dishes that Suga had gotten all the way to the abandoned factory were quite quickly feeding them to Koto.
なんか見てて気持ちのいい食いっぷりだな。
Yeah, it's like an ASMR in my headphones. Yeah, I think so too. It's like an ASMR in my headphones.
私は見てるだけでお腹いっぱいになってきちゃう。
Chatting around things like this isn't so bad. You can soak in just a little bit of happiness. It was an oddly comfortable, strange feeling.
神谷くん、ありがとう。私を仲間に入れてくれて。
What is this all of a sudden?
私、友達いなかったから、こんな風に誰かと一緒にいるの、すごく嬉しくて。
Minakura. Could it be that Minakura started saying something like that because she felt the same way I did? Thinking that way, I somehow started to feel happy too. You know, you can just call me Subaru. We are comrades after all.
じゃあ私も、友って呼んでほしいな。
Alright, then from now on I won't call you Tomo. I will call you Tomo. Suga's first name is Kyohei, so is Kyo fine?
こら、勝手に決めんじゃねえよ。
It's just that Suga is kind of hard to say. Calling you Kyohei is also a bit long, so Kyo is fine, right?
だから勝手に決めんなって。
今日
Today?
コト、お前まで。
友。私、友だよ。スバル。
Yeah. That's right, and you, Koto.
私、こと、京都、友と、スバルは、仲間。
Comrades and friends. Yeah. Yes, we have become companions. It's a somewhat strange relationship, but it came together centered around Koto. The first time I became conscious of what companions meant was at this very moment on this very day. With Tomo and Kyo joining the group, Koto's meal problem was solved for the time being. Since then, after school, the three of us would gather at the abandoned factory, and it became a daily routine to play together with intimate interaction. What do you mean? And Koto grows at an astonishing speed every day. Koto, what did you just say?
お外へ行ってみたい。
I was quite taken aback by how abruptly she said it. After all, until then, she never once expressed her own desires. For example, she might say I'm hungry, but she never said give me some food. Could it be that even in things that were like infants, something like self-awareness is beginning to sprout?
外？いいじゃん。連れてってやろうぜ。
そうだね。ここは広いけど、いつも同じ場所だと窮屈に感じるし。
Kyo and Tomo agreed with Koto's opinion without thinking deeply. However, for me, there are things I can simply nod along to, secrets about the matter that only I know. If someone who knows my deceased sister sees Koto, who looks exactly like her...
お外、ダメ？
No, it's not that I can't.
お前何渋ってんだよ。コトが外に出ちゃいけない理由でもあるのか？
This thing... Kyo doesn't know. I haven't told Tomo either that the thing looks just like my dead sister. At the very least, that has nothing to do with Tomo or Kyo, and I'm not thinking of Koto as a substitute for my sister either. It's just, when I met Koto, it was simply the trigger that made me feel I couldn't leave this guy alone. Alright, then let's play outside today.
そう来なくっちゃな。
よかったね、コトちゃん。お外行けるって。うん。
To smile faintly, that was the greatest expression of joy for Koto at that moment. Kyo and Tomo are even more excited than Koto. This is fine, right? As long as she doesn't come near our neighborhood, she will probably be fine. I told myself that. So, where should we go? We took Koto out of the abandoned factory and headed into town. This area is quite far from my place, so it should still be fine though.
この辺で遊び場って言ったら、やっぱ宇宙公園だろ。
Huh? The space park is a bit...
宇宙公園、好きじゃないの？
It's not really a matter of liking or disliking. Space Park is the largest natural park in this town, so naturally it is highly likely to attract attention. And above all, Space Park is really close to my house. Surely that's a problem in many ways. Lately, Mom mostly stays cooped up in her room during the day, but she might come to the Space Park to reminisce about memories with my little sister. Yeah, there's a place even better than the Space Park.
どこだよそれ。
Well, let's just say that's something to look forward to when we get there. I tend to speak in a pretentious way, but in reality I had no plan at all. The shrine. Anyway, I have to subtly lead everyone to a place that doesn't seem popular. Oh, here. This is exactly the place I've been searching for.
はあ？こんなところが？
へえ、こんな場所に神社なんてあったんだね。はあ。
We wandered around searching for a place where Koto wouldn't be noticed, walking until the sun began to set. As a result, what I arrived at was this small shrine. This is exactly the ideal place for me after all. It stands quietly and it doesn't seem like anyone would visit. Here, Koto probably won't catch anyone's eye. Hey, it's a nice spot, right? Let's play here today.
け、こんなしけた神社のどこがいいとこなんだよ。
しけているのではなく、厳かな雰囲気を漂わせていると言ってください。
Huh?
珍しいですね。こんな子供たちがうちに来るなんて。
The one who appeared saying that was a girl dressed in unfamiliar clothing. A white kimono with a red hakama, long braids tied at the sides of the head. She has a rather mature atmosphere, but judging by her height and build, she's probably around the same age as us.
ようこそ当社へ。お参りではなさそうですけど。
なんだよあんた、この神社の人か？
ええ、このしけた神社の娘です。しかし、しけているとはいえ、その霊験はあらたか。うかつなことをおっしゃると、お狐様のたたりがあるかもですよ。
悪かったよ。さっきのはなしだ、なし。
分かっていただければいいんです。
Smiling cheerfully, the girl scolded a stubborn kyo. I was impressed by that undeniable intensity, but more than that, I felt something was bothering me. Do I know this child? Even though it should be a face I'm seeing for the first time, there's this feeling that I met her somewhere before. That's right, surely something like this is called déjà vu.
何か？
No, it's nothing. I frantically shake my head back and forth at the girl, who suspiciously notices my gaze. Yeah, it's probably just my imagination. Deja vu is supposed to be like that after all. I'm Subaru. Kamitani Subaru. That's not your name. The one with the sharp tongue over there is Kyo, and she's Tomo over there.
口が悪いは余計だっての。
皆倉友です。こんにちは。はい、こんにちは。私は時国宮子と申します。
Her name is the only one that spelled right. Tokokini Miyako, yeah, all together. I don't have any particular memory of that name. I didn't feel anything like deja vu either. I guess what I felt earlier was just my imagination.
それで、そちらの子は？
Huh? No, this child...
私、こと。へえ、ことちゃんって言うんですか。
After Miyako smiled at Koto, she casually turned to look back at me.
この子、あなたの妹さん？
Huh? It was abrupt, unexpected, a question that struck too directly at the core. No way, do you know my little sister Kotori? Is that why I didn't feel like the first time I was meeting you? No, wait, Koto looks the youngest of us, so maybe that's why I just thought we were brother and sister, right? Surely Miyako just intuitively thought that Koto was someone's younger sister among us. So it just happened that she brought up that story to me. In any case, there is nothing unnatural about the current exchange itself. I see, Koto is my little sister.
そうですか。この子が。
To my answer, Miyako simply murmured that much. And there's no sign that they are going to bring it up any further. Maybe I was overthinking it after all.
それにしても、ここにあなたたちみたいな子供が来るのは珍しいですわ。
ガキ扱いすんなよ。だいたいお前だって子供だろうが。
あら、ごめんなさい。ちなみにあなたたち、おいくつ？
I told them that we were in the same grade. Regarding Koto, I conveyed my sister's age as it was.
あらあら、それじゃあ私は皆さんより一つ年上になりますね。
I see. No wonder I thought you seemed a little mature.
ありがとうございます。
When I said that, Miyako smiled gracefully.
でも、この神社に同年代の子たちが来てくれたのは本当に嬉しいんですよ。 大体は宇宙公園の方に行ってしまいますから、ここの境内で遊ぶ子供たちはとんと見かけなくて。
Oh, I see. That is really good to hear. Since I couldn't make the existence of the thing public, it was more convenient for me to be in places where other children wouldn't come. Well then, let's play here today.
おい、マジかよ。こんな小さくて狭い神社で何を。
小さくて狭い神社でも神様はいらっしゃるんですよ。
ああ、もう悪かったよ。前言撤回。
私もここでいいよ。ことちゃんは？うん、ここで遊ぶ。
Then it's settled. Miyako, do you want to play together too?
私もご一緒していいんですか？
Since it's a special occasion, it's better to have a lot of people if you are going to play. I invited Miyako without thinking deeply. Earlier I suspected all sorts of things, but talking like this, she seemed like a normal, pleasant girl. If we just play together for a little while, surely Koto won't think anything strange of it.
そうですね。それじゃあ私も混ぜてもらえますか？
Of course, everyone's okay with it too, right?
ちぇ、別にいいけどよ。
私もみんなで遊ぶ。
And so, it was decided that the five of us, including Miyako, would play together. Once it reaches about this number of people, the range of activities increases, and it becomes more interesting. So, what should we play?
そうだな。このクソ狭い境内でも遊びって言ったら。
くそなんですって？
もとい、限られた空間を最大限に生かした遊びって言ったら？
That Kyo is already starting to fear Miyako. It's better not to make Miyako-san your enemy. I made sure to lodge that in my mind.
そうですね。ここで遊ぶのでしたら高鬼なんてどうでしょう？
Takanokami, huh? Might not be so bad. Takakonik, whatever, is a type of tag game. Or Oki. Tag is a type of tag game where if you are in a place higher than the ground, you cannot be caught by the Oni, or the demon. However, there are also detailed lookout rules, such as being able to stay in high places for only up to 10 seconds.
なるほどな。確かにここならそこそこ高さのある場所がいくつかあるし。
私走るのは苦手だけど高鬼なら。
Obviously, Koto doesn't know, but both Kyo and Tomo seem to agree, but only Koto tilted her head in doubt. But it's not that she's opposed to it. I just probably don't understand what Takakone is. Or Takaoni is, so I explained the rules to Koto. During the explanation, Koto was nodding along just to be polite, but whether she really understood it is quite doubtful. Well, with all that said, we all decided to play tag with a tall Oni together. Rock, paper, scissors.
あら、負けてしまいました。じゃあ私が鬼ですね。
Okay, so this wasn't a memory where I lost.
ぴったりだな。鬼ってところが。
きょうくんでしたっけ？まずはあなたから狙おうかしら。
逃げろ逃げろ。
どうしよう。
I mean, you two aren't being chased. The demon, having been decided to be Miyako's son, caused Kyo to flee at once, while Tomo was flustered and Koto stood there absent-mindedly. Ah, jeez, you two are such a handful. Tomo, Koto, this way, this way. Climb up onto the steps of the shrine.
わかった。ことちゃん行こう。さーて、そろそろ行きますよ。
Oh, they are here. she's here. Both of you, hurry! I also head for the shrine building by running. But to be honest, I wasn't that anxious. Honestly, considering Miyako's outfits, I underestimated her, thinking it would be hard for her to run and nothing special. However...
すぐに追いついちゃいますよ。
Oh, that was fast. Miyako was faster than I expected, and for some reason she was charging straight at me. Why me? Tomo and Koto are closer to you though.
いきなりあの二人を狙うのは興ざめでしょ。
Well, that's true, but there's no way I'm getting caught. It seems that Miyako is quite good at reading the room. Thanks to that, I ended up having to sprint at full speed.
ほらほら、待ちなさーい。
You're really fast. Damn, just a little more. Even though I was about to be caught, I aimed for the central building. Oh! Phew, just made it. I thought I ran into it. Somehow I was able to climb onto the steps of the shrine before Miyako-san caught me.
なんだ、お前もこっちに来たのかよ。
Kyo? I thought you were the first to run away, but you were here?
私も、ことも。
Even with Tomo and Koto, when did this happen? When I looked, everyone was huddled in the same place. Since the shrine is the tallest place in the surrounding area, I guess it's only natural. But having everyone in the same place isn't good. After all, for the demon, all it has to do is wait right here.
1、2、3。
Apparently, understanding that, Miyako-san slowly begins to count the numbers right in front of us. According to the local rules around here, when the Oni counts to 10, you have to leave this place. At this rate, the demons will have a wide selection of prey. Well then, what should I do? Among the four of us here, I think I'm probably the fastest runner. Tomo is clumsy at everything, so she's out of the question. Kyo is talkative, but his speed is probably below average. Koto's physical abilities are uncertain, but the bigger issue is that there is a fear they don't understand the rules. Alright, I go out first and act as a decoy, so you guys use that opportunity to escape to another place.
でも、それだとスバルくんが。
I'll be fine. There's nothing lacking on the opponent's side, so you guys survive too. I say things like that and try to look cool. Tako Oni is, so to speak, an individual sport, so those who are not the Oni aren't exactly comrades either, but in situations like this, sacrificing oneself is what makes for an intense development.
スバルくん、やられないように気をつけてね。
け、無駄にカッコつきやがって。
Kyo shows his usual twisted attitude to Tomo, who genuinely worries about him. Yeah. And Koto still didn't seem to understand well, and had a puzzled look on their face.
6、7、
Fucking hell.
8。
6, 7. Even by doing things like that, Miyako-san's counting keeps progressing. It's about my limit. I have to jump out just before I finish counting to 10.
9、10。
Ow! Timing is just barely right. I leap out from the steps of the shrine. I make my getaway.
そうはいきませんよ。
Just as I planned, Miyako-san is following me. I try to shake it off and aim for a new save zone, but... I got caught! In the end, Miyako-san caught up to me and touched my back. Damn it! Miyako is seriously fast.
でもあなたも立派でしたわ。みんなのために自分からおとりになるなんて。
Well, if I become a demon myself, then this time I target them.
当たり前ですよ。そうしないと鬼ごっこは成立しませんもの。
Miyako-san says that and gives a small smile. That smile was so charming that I somehow felt embarrassed. Well then, now it's my turn to be it, huh?
あら怖い。それじゃあ早く逃げましょう。
スバルが鬼になったぞ。逃げろー。
どうしよう。
When I pulled myself together and declared it, everyone scattered and ran away.
Well,
The easiest target. However, among them, only Koto remains alone in that place. What's wrong? I'm a demon, you know. I walk closer to Koto, but Koto shows no sign of trying to escape at all. It seems like they still didn't quite understand the rules after all. Hey, if you don't run away quickly, I catch you. Joke's on you, I'm into that. Nah, even when I prompt her, she just tilts her head slightly. This is hopeless. At this rate, even if I touch it, Koto probably won't be able to fulfill the role of the demon. At the very least, I have to make them understand just the concepts of running away from demons, and high places are safe. Come on, escape to a high place.
高いところ。
Yes, it's safe as long as it's higher than the ground.
地面より高いところ。
When I explained patiently, Koto immediately turned her back to me on the spot. Have you finally understood? Or so I thought. In the next moment, something unusual happened to that small back. Oh! No! Fucking hell. Koto's back, even over her clothes, fairy-like wings began to grow.
ああ。
コトちゃん。
Everyone was astonished by the scene, which could even be described as fantastical. Eventually, Koto spread wings that had grown larger than her own height, flapped them slowly, and rose from the ground. Damn, Wings Club. To slowly flap its wings and look down at you serenely. I stood there with my mouth wide open, staring blankly at such a thing.
これで大丈夫？
Koto asked from above, but of course it couldn't possibly be okay in a different sense. Koto, that's cheating, so come down.
そうなの？
That's right, who in their right mind flies through the sky in a high demon game? In Takaoni, even before that, the very fact that that she could fly was a problem, but at that time I was also quite confused. Hey, hurry up and come down.
わかった。
At my call, Koto came down to the ground, looking a little disappointed.
降りた。
Alright then, next let's put those wings away. Koto nodded obediently and folded her wings back as if collapsing them. Phew, for now this should do. I feel relieved as I see Koto finally return to her original form. However, I soon remembered that there were other people in the gallery, and I turned around fearfully. She's unfazed. But not so much. Then there were Kyo and the others, dumbfounded as they witnessed an unbelievable scene. From the very first time we met, I had a vague suspicion that Goto was not human. Vague? You were like, she's undeniably not human. However, Tomo and Kyo probably only thought of her as a mysterious girl, at most. Moreover, someone like Miyako, whom I just met today, might start making a fuss. If that happens, the existence of something that shouldn't supposedly exist will come to light.
不思議な力をお持ちなんですね。
Huh? Eventually, the first person to speak among the three was surprisingly Miyako. Moreover, it easily accepts the incredible scene that just happened right before my eyes. So that's it?
それだけとは？
No, I was just thinking you might have other impressions. Can you even believe what just happened earlier?
これでも神社の娘ですから。
Miyako-san gave another incomprehensible answer. I was the one who ended up surprised by Miyako's reaction. No, it's definitely more convenient that way, but...
あ、すげえなこと。なんか知んないけど、とにかくすごいぜ。
そうだね。ちょっと信じられないけど、ゴトちゃんってやっぱり特別な子だったんだ。
You guys really okay with this?
なんだよ。俺らがビビって逃げ出すとでも思ったのか？
何があってもゴトちゃんはゴトちゃんだもの。それに私たち仲間でしょ？
Today, too... Kyo and Tomo, too, were each accepting. Oh, Kyo and Tomo, fucking hell. Kyo and Tomo, too, were each accepting the scene they had just seen. I might have underestimated these guys. Setting Miyako aside, Kyo and Tomo are friends, after all. So I could have trusted these guys more. When I think that way, I somehow feel apologetic, and at the time, it feels a bit ticklish. With this, I don't need to give any unnecessary support to Kyo and the others. In that case, the only remaining problem is the person responsible. Goto, what exactly was that thing from earlier?
あれって？
It's about those wings. How do you have such power? Goto looked at me again with a puzzled expression in response to my question. Perhaps even Goto herself doesn't really understand it. Right now, no matter what I ask, it has no meaning. In that case, there was only one thing I had to do. Goto, you can't use that power in front of others.
どうして？
You just have to, okay? Promise me, Goto.
わかった。
When I coaxed her as if I were pleading, Goto nodded in agreement for the time being. Goto is currently in the midst of growing mentally. I want to believe that I will gradually come to understand my own abilities, and that they are different from those of others. Everyone, could you keep what just happened with the wings secret?
わかってら。下手に大人に知られたら、ことがどうなるかわかんないもんな。
私も誰にも言わない。ゴトちゃんのことは私たちだけの秘密だからね。
Thanks, both of you. These guys were way better people than I thought. Honestly, I'm really glad these two are my friends.
もちろん私も誰にも言いふらしたりしませんよ。言っても誰も信じないでしょうしね。
Miyako, thank you.
ただその代わりと言ってはなんですが、
一つだけお願いがあるんです。
Let us join you. A request.
その子の秘密を知った者として、私もあなたたちの仲間に入れてもらえませんか？
That is... I instinctively look toward Q and the others.
ま、いいんじゃねえの？仲間にしといた方がことの秘密言いふらさないか見張れるし。
キョウ君、そんな言い方は。あ、私も賛成だよ。みやこさん、いい人だと思うし。
Yeah, I think so too. Koto, is that okay with you?
うん。みやこも仲間がいい。
Then, it's decided.
ありがとうございます。皆さん、改めてよろしくお願いしますね。
And so, a new member was about to join us. And this time, with the mysterious power of Koto revealed, I felt that the bond with everyone had deepened even more. But at the time, we still didn't know that those things are only a small part of Koto's power. That tower still isn't finished. Okay, I thought that I'm going to finish, or like I'm going to do a one take, but tomorrow I have to wake up early, so I think I'm going to leave it off here. I think that this, intro scene, despite we just played like over 2 hours, believe me, or if I, know it correctly, despite this, I think that this was like a slower introduction to what I have hoped, and it isn't exactly, traveling through the photograph, but it's kind of similar. So, probably with the next episode, I don't think there's going to be a lot more than like meeting Hime and then probably meeting Koto's power, or like what she really is. So yeah, part 13 is definitely going to be the episode's end, but I just have to, wake up early, so, and I don't have another 2 hours in me right now because of that, so I totally forgot that I have to wake up early. So without further ado, thank you guys for watching, and I see you guys in part 13 and possibly the end of episode 4. Ciao ne.